paradise. Why would anyone want to leave? Well, they closed the beaches, they closed the swimming pools. Luckily, this pandemic hit after we were there for 2 months, and we spent March 15th to April 15th in lockdown. Now it's time. We decided it was time to leave. This is the Beetle Room. A lot of Beetle stuff here. And I need to explain what is a sweeper flight. Well, when a country tries to get their countrymen out of another country, they can arrange things and sponsor things. And we were in Davao, Philippines, in a little condo, and the Bureau of Immigration sent us this thing that said you can get on an American sweeper flight. It's a sweeper flight. Spell it, sweeper. Anyways, so to get on the sweeper flight, but they only gave us 1 day. But you had all these things you had to do. You had to be able to say, some of my videos, you had to be able to say that you stayed in the same spot for 14 days and have a health certificate that said that from your barangay captain or from some other source. And then you had to have a letter from your embassy that says that you could travel from one place to another. All right, so you needed those two things, and we had no idea how to get them. And in the U.S. Embassy, the sweeper flight was sponsored by America, but they only gave us 1 day, and we didn't know how to get anything, and we still had a flight for the 15th of April. So we said, you know, everything's gonna be cool, we'll just wait. Well, then a few days later, they canceled our 15th flight. They extended the lockdown until the 29th of April. And then Philippine Airlines said, well, pick a few days that you want in May and we'll see if we can get them for you. And we said, oh, well, they might lock it down again, which they did. But just then, my wife had been talking to her friend who's leaving Davao to go to Australia. And guess how they're doing it? Australian-sponsored sweeper flight. Now, our airport was closed, but we could fly out on this sweeper flight. So, because they said that other foreigners can do it. And it had the same things that you had to have. So we sent an email up to our embassy saying, hey, can we get this letter that we're supposed to have? And we through talking to her friend, she told us how she got her health certificate, and she just went to the Bureau of Quarantine, which I'd never heard of, but so we said, let's do that. So we did that. Here we go. So anyways, we had 2 days this time instead of 1 day. So this Australian sweeper flight was coming into Davao City on a closed airport. It's a closed airport. So they would open up just for this flight. Okay, so my wife was talking to her friend who is taking this flight because Australia had sponsored them all the way through. So they get on a flight from Davao and some other cities, and they go to Manila, and then they transfer to this plane that's waiting for them to go to Australia. Well, we, of course, didn't want to go to Australia, we wanted to go to America. So what we did was we requested to be on that flight. And while we were waiting for them to say, yeah, you can be on the flight, we went ahead and her friend had told her to go to the Department of Quarantine, and it's really quick and easy, and we went there. It was very quick, easy. They did everything. They took our temperature, checked us to make sure we're okay, and then they gave us each a letter saying that we are healthy and we've been in quarantine for 14 days, so we're good to go. Although we were in quarantine for a month. But anyways, so we got back to the condo, and an email was waiting for me from the embassy that said we can travel from one point to another. So we had our documents, but then we still had to book the flight on Philippine Airlines, and they had sent me also while we were gone directions on how to do that. It was really simple. You just go in and you do exactly what they said. Anyways, I booked the flight. So we said, great, now we have to show two other things in order to take this flight. We have to show that we have a flight out of Manila. Manila wants to make sure that you can come in, but you got to go right out. And if you can't leave within 24 hours, you have to show where you're staying. All right, so the first thing was to book the flight. And we had already checked flights leaving, and the same day that this flight would get in, which I think the 18th, it would get into the Manila, there was a flight from Korean Airlines leaving. So we said, this is great. We could take the flight from Korean Airlines and go, the one that we checked was $1,000 each, but it went from Manila to Korea. It stayed there 17 hours. And then it went to Washington and then down to LAX, Los Angeles, was where we started from. So we wanted to go back to Los Angeles. We thought we did. Anyways, we checked and the flight was gone. It was now just the first class seats. So we're going to pay $3,500 each, which we considered just to get out of there. Well, then we backed it up one day to the 19th, and we could fly out of there for $1,000 on Delta. My sister had said, take Delta, it leaves there. Even though Delta uses Korean Airlines, the Delta flight was also a 15-hour layover or whatever. Anyways, my sister said, have you thought about going to Detroit? If you go to Detroit, you're closer to home, and it's there's a flight. I can see them because she worked for Delta Airlines and she could actually see everything and how many seats and everything. So we went back in and we booked a flight from the 19th, which is the day later, to and it went to Korea on Korean Airlines, but then it went on Delta the rest of the way to Detroit, and it was only in Korea for five hours. So we said that's great. So that's what we did. We booked that flight, and now our only problem was we were going to be there more than 24 hours, and we need to show what hotel we're going to stay at. So we called everyone. I finally booked an Airbnb at the Shell Residences where we like to stay a lot. I mean, here's a picture of the pool area, although I'm sure it's closed. And we stayed there 3 or 4 times, and it's right next to the Mall of Asia. You can't beat this place. But we had a whole nother day left, and the person that I booked it with on Airbnb never responded to me. So I got Airbnb involved, and then after I messaged them, they're really quick to respond, and they messaged her somehow, and she messaged me back and said, oh, I'm very sorry, but the condo is not accepting foreigners at this time because of this thing, and I should have blocked it out, it's my fault, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so anyways, Airbnb right away said, everybody give you your money back and all this stuff. Okay, that's good, and they did. But now I was stuck. I didn't have a place to show them that I was staying, but I kept my Airbnb receipt in case I show them that, and then we just hang out at the airport for 2 days. Well, what I did was I started calling all the places that said they were filled up. You know, I mean, when you look them online, they say, sorry, it's booked. And I called one, and they said, well, we do have a room available, but it's the penthouse. It's up on the 13th floor, and it's, you know, a little glamorous, blah, blah, blah. I said, how much is it? And they said 7,000 pesos. I said, that's 140 bucks. Okay, I want it for 2 nights. And the reason I got it for 2 nights was because we were going to land around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, go to the hotel, and then I didn't want to leave at 11 in the checkout time at 11 and go sit at the airport until midnight the next day. So we got it for 2 nights, and left at 4 o'clock to go back to the airport. We were still there very early, but it seemed like so was everybody else that was taking that flight. Anyways, back to the sweeper flight. The sweeper flight was leaving Davao. The night before, we had all this stuff because we thought we were going to be there a month. So we had all this stuff that we had bought, this groceries and water, lots of stuff. And so we started calling her relatives who have been helping us out so much. We didn't have a printer, so they would print things for us, and they would bring food to us during this lockdown and everything, because we couldn't get out. We were over 60, so we weren't allowed to leave. We were like prisoners. It's not a bad place to be a prisoner, though. So we gave them all of our stuff that we had, that we were keeping, that we thought we were going to be there a month. So we gave it all to them. All right, so then we got on that sweeper flight, and here's what the sweeper flight was like. Our plane has landed. A special plane. Wow, Department of Tourism provided Jollibee's cheeseburgers. They were just like real cheeseburgers, sort of. Funny, we never went into the airport. They sat us in an outside area, and tried to space us apart the best they could. Davao Department of Tourism also gave us a bag with water, snacks, and wet ones in it. They always let old people on first. They take good care of senior citizens there. That's one good thing the Philippines give. They really do take care of senior citizens. But because we're always first, it always seems like the airplane's empty. But it wasn't. I've never seen the streets of Manila this empty. Manila. Can I say it right? Manila. This empty. It was crazy. And then we stayed at this penthouse, this condo. It's crazy. Here it is. There's a view from the dining room. The first floor had, the kitchen, big living room, and the dining room, and just. This is the master bedroom with a master bathroom, and got a master bathtub and a master underwears and the shower. And the other bedroom, we didn't even use this bedroom. It's got its bathroom. Windows open, it's kind of warm in here. And their views are same. Here, like a mosque or something. And we can go downstairs. Nice place to visit for no spa services during the coronavirus. Could have spent $14 for a massage though. Only fish and vegetables available. A little crazy. So we got to the airport. And at the airport we got to, it was just us, just my flight that was leaving. We got in line early. Everybody got to the airport early. Talked to a few people. There's some pretty cool guys there. So anyways, then we all went to the gate. Just our people, all the people for our flight going to the gate. It was really kind of weird. And then, of course, we're always the first ones on the flight. Okay. And we could have sat wherever we wanted, they told us later. But it was a 5-hour flight to Korea. And in the Korean Mall, it looked so empty. It was really interesting. I mean, the decor they chose, teepees. I mean, I felt like it was in Oklahoma. They had teepees there. It was really nice. One thing we didn't realize, though, we thought it was closed, but it was basically only 4 in the morning. So it was pretty much just not open yet. Although when they did open, it was just a few things. And the decor was really nice everywhere you went. I mean, they know how to do it. It's like being in a mall. And of course, we're the first ones on the plane again. This is for a 12-hour flight, though. So we're on our way to Detroit, and again, it was half empty. So where do we start? From Davao, Philippines, to Manila, Philippines, to Korea, Seoul, to Detroit, to Atlanta, and now we're flying from Atlanta to Oklahoma City. And my car's waiting there, and then we have a 3-hour drive back home. And you can see the seats are all empty, and it's been like that in all the flights. And now we're home. Today will be in the 60s. It'll be raining, but it'll be okay because we're home.